Julian Schutze
and Nicole Smith
from Blood and Iron Martial Arts.
We're here today to talk to you about tells in sword fighting.
What is a tell?
Well, if you've ever played poker, you've heard the term. It refers to the little unconscious actions that reveal our intentions.
Every practitioner has them, especially in the beginning. The real trick is to be able to work through your sparring, analyze them, and just work on removing them.
Once you know what to look for, it can be a useful tool in anticipating your opponent's attacks.
One of the most obvious and common ones you will see is people bringing the sword back before they perform their attack.
They'll take a guard position and they'll wind up before they throw a cut. Now, all this really does is signal that you're about to throw an attack.
This one's particularly bad because you're spending a lot of time bringing your sword backwards, which is away from the person you're trying to hit.
And the other thing that's really bad about it is it tends to lend itself to leading with your body rather than leading with your sword. Many fighters will develop predictable patterns that we can use as a tell.
These ones are particularly tricky to see because it does require a couple passes to be able to identify them. You have to pay attention to their chain of attacks. Very often, no matter what the actual starting position is for a lot of these fighters, they will just fall into a predictable pattern.
Now, if you happen to notice a pattern, you do have a couple options. The first one being interrupt or break the pattern. A lot of times, once you've got the pattern interrupted, they really don't have a lot to follow it up with.
Or number two, just wait for them to finish. Very often after completing their chain of attacks, fighters will stall or once in a while even come to a complete stop. This gives you perfect amount of time to be able to reciprocate with a chain of attacks yourself. Just try not to make it as obvious as your opponents.
Another thing people do just before they throw an attack is tense all or part of their bodies. Tensing your body before an attack is a natural reaction, but a lot of people have to work really hard to work it out of their game.
This one is also particularly tricky to notice and does take quite a bit of experience. One of the more common places you'll be able to see this is in the shoulders. A practitioner will very often tense them up before they commit to their action. Very common examples of this would be high guard positions.
The other thing that happens sometimes is a stutter with their feet. It's just tensing happening down there.
The exact same tell can manifest itself in many different ways depending on the individual. Additionally, an individual may have multiple tells. Generally speaking, the newer they are, the more they're going to have.
The best way to spot tells is through experience and working through removing your own.
Practice in front of a mirror or watch some pre-recorded footage of yourself to see if you can identify anything. Also, help your training partners. Watch them practice and see if you can tell what they're going to do before they do it.
Spotting and removing tells is a valuable tool in your toolbox and should not be overlooked. But like anything else, if you're not going to put in the training, you're not going to get the result.